That's AEW Fight for the Fallen on Saturday. On Sunday, we have WWE Extreme Rules. Here are my predictions. We have Aleister Black versus Cesaro. Cesaro was revealed to be the mystery knocker on the door of Aleister Black this past week on SmackDown. I know Alexis was disappointed. She was hoping for a bigger name like a Johnny Gargano or something, like more of a surprise. I think it's going to be a great match. I could see why most people wouldn't care about it being Cesaro, because the guy's been doing nothing for a while now. But from an in-ring standpoint, it could be great. It gives Aleister Black an easy win in his first singles pay-per-view match for WWE. And I think a lot of these people that are disappointed that Cesaro stepped up to the plate to face Aleister Black, that stepped up to face Aleister on the show, I think will be pleasantly surprised by the match that we get here. So I think Aleister obviously has to win. For the Cruiserweight Championship, which I could definitely see being added to the kickoff show, Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese. The thing that doesn't make sense to me, now I know why, but they had an Anything Goes match on 205 Live this week between Oni Lorcan and Ari Daivari. Great match, too. Easily the best Daivari match I've ever seen. It was a really good match, but that was extreme. That was an Extreme Rules match, pretty much. Extreme Rules, no holds barred, no DQ, anything goes. Whatever the hell you want to call it, street fight, it's all the same thing. But then we have Gulak and Nese on this show with no stipulation. It makes no sense, which is another reason why they need to get rid of this fucking show. Extreme Rules, there's nothing extreme about it. There's like 2 stipulation matches, 3 maybe, on the entire show. Oh, handicap match. It's so extreme, who cares? Anyway, so Gulak and Nese, getting back to what I was talking about originally. Gulak wins, he just won the championship at Stomping Grounds. I think he has to win here. For the SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross in a handicap match. Now, I had just read this morning that the reason why Nikki Cross was added, I thought it just made sense from a storyline standpoint. Now, I don't want to see a handicap match. I'd rather see a triple threat. I think that would be, that would make more sense. But they're doing the handicap match, I guess, because they want to protect Alexa. She's coming off a pretty bad sinus infection, which is why she wasn't on Raw or SmackDown this week, so I guess that explains that. A lot of people are saying Bayley, and I want Bayley to win. I think Nikki Cross could win this. I think she could pin Bayley, and then she could become champion. And then Alexa Bliss has a reason to be pissed at her. Now, Nikki Cross is on Raw, but that hasn't changed them, that hasn't affected WWE and their dumb booking decisions with this fucking wild card rule. So I'm going to go off on a limb and say Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross win this, with Nikki Cross picking up the win for her team and becoming the new champion. And then her and Alexa Bliss, feud over that, or maybe they become co-champions like Lay Cole, which would be shitty, but we'll see. But I'm going to go off on a limb and say Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross win this thing. Let's see. For the Raw Tag Team titles, The Revival versus The Usos. This should be a really fun match. The Revival just won the belts about a month or two ago. I think about a month ago, actually. I think I was going to say it would be dumb to take the belts off them so soon, but does it even really matter? These belts mean nothing anyway. I'm going to say The Revival. I think there's more teams for them to face on Raw before they drop the championships. I guess I could see them losing them here to the Usos, so the Viking Raiders can chase the Usos for the titles. Just keep them on Revival. I'll say Revival retains. Last man standing match, Braun Strowman to Bobby Lashley. Again, I'm going to go off on a limb and say Bobby Lashley. I know Paul Heyman's a big Bobby Lashley guy. I know he's high on Braun too. But I think Bobby could really benefit from a victory here. I hated the fact that they had him, basically bury Rey Mysterio on Raw. I loved what it did for Bobby, not so much what it did or didn't do for Rey Mysterio. But I like the idea of getting Bobby, hotter, getting him on more of a streak, giving him more momentum. And he can win this thing without pinning Braun Strowman, because it is a last man standing match. I think Braun's the safe pick, and he needs a win. He hasn't won on pay-per-view, and WrestleMania doesn't count. That fucking trophy, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, who cares? Aside from that, on the main card of a show, he has not won on pay-per-view since TLC 2018, last December. It's currently July. And even on that show, that was barely of his doing, because he beat Baron Corbin in a 5-on-1 handicap match, or with help of Bobby Roode and Chad Gable and Apollo Crews and who was the other guy? That I was going to mention. Gable, Rude, Apollo Crews, Kurt Angle interfered at one point. So, I think he needs the win, but he beat Bobby at the Super Showdown show, which I also completely forgot about. But putting that aside, I think Bobby could really benefit from a win here. So, I know it's wishful thinking, but I want Bobby to win this. I hope Bobby wins, so he's my pick. Let's see, I think we're getting to the main matches here. Real quick, for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus the New Days, Big E and Xavier Woods in Heavy Machinery. Triple Threat Tag Team title match. I'm going to say Heavy Machinery wins this thing. Again, the tag titles really mean nothing, but after coming up short at Stomping Grounds, they don't have to pin Bryan and Rowan in this match to become champions. They can pin either Big E or Xavier Woods. I think Bryan and Rowan are going to win. I think it's too soon to put the belts back on the New Day. It'd be a cool thing to have every member of the New Day holding gold, but I don't think they need to do that. So I'm going to go with Heavy Machinery, new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Let's see. For the United States Championship, Ricochet versus AJ Styles. Another one. I think this could go either way, because Ricochet's already beaten AJ before. AJ needs wins, as does Ricochet. I don't want to see Ricochet lose the title within a month, but I think the feud could be better with Ricochet in chase mode. Unless they have AJ's, I think is going to win it at some point. So AJ will either win it here or at SummerSlam. I'm going to say here. I think AJ wins it here to put Ricochet back in chase mode, which is where they should have kept him for a little longer. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this match. It could be killer if they give him enough time to shine. So I think AJ wins here, becomes a new champion. Let's see. For the WWE Championship, Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe. I would love nothing more than for Joe to be the one to beat Kofi for the title. I don't see it happening, though. I think he's the latest fall guy for Kofi to beat. I think it's going to be his best challenge, though. I didn't really care too much about Owens going for the belt or Sammy or Dolph, just because they're not really threats. They weren't really built up at all. They weren't built up whatsoever. So anyway, I do think, I do think Kofi will retain here, still WWE Champion. Tag team match, we have The Undertaker and Roman Reigns taking on Shane and Drew. If Shane and Drew win, they're going to have to either pin Taker or Roman. And it's also no holds barred. So I could see The Miz interfering, Kevin Owens interfering, the babyfaces will win. Maybe we get Roman and Shane at SummerSlam. I do think Drew's taking the pinfall loss here, and then they'll have Shane eat a pinfall loss in singles competition, probably at SummerSlam in the hands of Roman Reigns, I would imagine. Or Kevin Owens, but I think Roman, in all honesty, The Miz would make the most sense, but they're going this route with Roman, so I guess they're going to do that instead. So I think Taker and Roman win here, with help from The Miz and Kevin Owens and maybe a few others. And maybe all the people that Kevin Owens mentioned on SmackDown this week. Apollo Crews and Ali and Buddy Murphy. You never know. And then in the main event, a last chance winner-take-all mixed tag team Extreme Rules match. Holy shit, that's a mouthful. That is a fucking mouthful. For both the Universal, it's not over, for both the Universal and Raw Women's Championships. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. What a fucking mess that title is. Oh my god. I really don't care about this match. To me, it feels like filler before SummerSlam. Putting the belts on Lacey and Corbin at this point would be disastrous. If Raw could get any worse, it could with them as champions. So I'm going to go with Rollins and Becky. There's no reason to take the titles off them at this point. I think they win here. And then Rollins and Becky can move on to fresh challengers heading into SummerSlam.